I'm your host, John Katsimatidis, and it's Sunday morning. It's the 4th of July. And who else to have with us this 4th of July is a great American, the last American that gave us a surplus in our budget, along with Bill Clinton, Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House. Good morning, Newt Gingrich.
Good morning, and I guess we ought to say happy birthday to America. This is a really, really important day.
Well, Newt, you've been a teacher, you've been a historian, besides being the number three in power to become president. Tell us what this means to you on the 4th of July.
Well, of course, with your help, we produced a terrific new movie called The First American about George Washington. And New Yorkers have a particular place here, which actually occurs 5 days later. The Continental Congress signs the Declaration of Independence, issues it, and it is couriered up to New York, where Washington is waiting the British. And you have this extraordinary moment where the huge British fleet, the largest fleet of its kind up to that point, some 400 ships are coming across to unload 35 or 40,000 professional soldiers at Staten Island. And Washington, in order to remind his soldiers why they're there, has the Declaration read out loud to the Army. And it is an extraordinary moment. And we sometimes forget, these were people who were really idealists. They were risking their lives. They were taking on the most powerful country in the world. And they were doing it in a genuine belief that they had rights from God and that they had a responsibility to defend their freedom. And so, in my mind, I'm always touched on the 4th of July by the courage of the Founding Fathers, the boldness of their declaration that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the whole fact that this changed the world. Instead of power coming from the king down to you, power came from God to you, and you then loaned government, but you wanted to loan it. It's truly one of the most extraordinary moments in human history. It happened right here in America, and that's what we celebrate on the 4th of July. It was the beginning of our becoming the most remarkable country in the world.
Well, I've seen that documentary, and every child in America should be able to see it. And we hope we can work that out in the near future. And it's just something special. It shows you how our country was created.
Well, these were people just like you and me. They were frightened just like we are. They got tired just like we do. And yet, no matter what happened, they had the courage to get back up, to keep working on it. And it was not any one person. It wasn't this although Washington is the central figure and ultimately the indispensable man, but he has a lot of people around him who are extraordinary. Jefferson in writing the Declaration, Franklin in being our ambassador in Europe and getting aid from the French, General Knox, who was a librarian and ran a bookstore in Boston, but studied, literally read books on how to be a general, and went off and found the artillery up in Fort Ticonderoga and brought it down on sleds through the snow to enable them to drive the British out of Boston. I mean, all these different people are migrating towards the same concept of freedom and the rule of law, and that our rights come from God. And that's really what marks the 4th of July and makes it such an extraordinary moment that we have decided as a country that we trust the people, that the people are the base of our government, the base of our laws, and that we owe the people. They don't owe us. We owe them. A very real sense that they've been endowed by God, and that together we Americans so far have been able to be pretty remarkably good. And, of course, New York City is a perfect example of our capacity to integrate people from all over the world, from all kinds of backgrounds, and find ways to work together as a team to be productive and to create new opportunities for our children and our grandchildren. That's, in my mind, that's the kind of thing the 4th of July is all about.
Mr. Speaker, you've been defending Donald Trump, and I saw about a week ago that the Washington Post ran a story that Donald Trump only contributed $10,000 in charity. And me and Mr. Trump are on the same board together on the Police Athletic League in New York City. And I called one of our directors and I asked, Well, how much has Donald given to charity? And the number over the last years was 1.7 million. How can we allow newspapers to lie like that?
Well, we can't. I think this is one of the reasons I love your radio show. I love the ability on Twitter and Facebook and elsewhere to keep communicating. We have an obligation to correct them. I sometimes think it's not so much the news media as a false news media, and that's a good example. I mean, both the New York Times and the Washington Post have been in an all-out war to try to redefine Donald Trump. You'll remember the New York Times went out and found women going back 35 years to try to prove that Donald Trump was bad towards women, and then had every single woman in the article repudiate the article and say that the New York Times lied, that they didn't say those things. I mean, this is the kind of stuff we're up against, and, I think ultimately people are going to get to know Trump through television and through Facebook and through Twitter, and they got to make a judgment about the guy. If you think that it's okay to have a corrupt, dishonest government in Washington, Hillary Clinton's the perfect candidate because she's part of the establishment. She gets it. She understands how to lie about virtually everything. On the other hand, if you think a time has come to really change things, that we can't just keep doing the same old stuff. We can't have bad deals in trade. We can't have a Secretary of State who has 2,300 emails that have secrets that are put out on the open Internet. We can't have weakening our military more and more every year. If you really believe we've got to change America back to prosperity and jobs and creativity and dynamics, then Trump's the only candidate in this race who makes any sense at all.
One additional thing on, it's Sunday morning, our 4th of July, our Independence Day. Have the British declared their own Independence Day from the European Union?
I think so. The Brexit vote, the vote to leave, it was truly historic. It wasn't just political. It was the first real break in the establishment effort to create a single unified Europe run by bureaucrats sitting in Brussels, and was a demand by the British people to retake control of their own destiny and to move towards once again being a free and sovereign country. And you'll notice that the bounce back after 2 days of panic, everybody took a deep breath and said, Britain might actually be better off if it doesn't have all that stuff in Brussels on top of it. And so
I agree with you.
The markets are coming back.
It's sort of creating, their own wall around Britain.
Of course, they always had the English Channel to do that for them, but it really is a sense of saying, we want to be British again. We don't want to be little Brussels bureaucrats. And I think there's a real parallel between Donald Trump's desire to make America great again for all Americans and the movement in Britain to reclaim Britain for the British.
Speaker Gingrich, God bless you and God bless America. Sunday morning, anything else you want to say to Americans before we sign off?
I just want to say to everybody who's listening to us, I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July, and take at least a moment out to remember all those who gave their lives over the course of our history to make sure that we could remain free, and put them in your prayers today.
Mr. Speaker, God bless you, and thank you for everything you've done for America and what you're going to do for America in the future. You never know.
Okay, thanks.